A 17-year-old girl uses reverse psychology to get her kidnapper to set her free. When she returns home, the only person who believes her story is a veteran detective who realizes she was taken by a notorious serial killer. The movie is set in 1984 in Tampa, Florida. As the movie begins, the scenes capture Florida's pretty views before the camera rolls to a local diner where Lisa works as a waitress. After spending all day at work, Lisa rides her bike home where she lives with her careless grandmother Diana and her boyfriend Morris. While she's paddling, she remembers all the night Morris had come into her room and sexually assaulted her. On the road, she notices a car by the side of the road, and although she looks at it suspiciously at first, she doesn't think much of it after she passes. The following day, Lisa gets a call from her sister Lori, who wants her to return to live with her and their mother. Although both her mother and grandmother know about her situation with Morris, they are unwilling to get involved. Saddened by the conversation but still not having a choice about it, Lisa gets dressed and goes to work. After a long day of work, Lisa gets her paycheck and starts to ride her bike home. On the way there, she notices the same black car she had seen the previous days as it speeds past her. When she made a turn, she noticed that the car was parked and running, but no one was inside it. Before she could react, a man popped out of the corner and got her off her bike, holding her face away from him. He then pushes her into his car and rapes her, threatening to kill him if she ever turned around. Once he's done, he blindfolds her and takes her to his apartment, where he tells her they will be more comfortable. Once they're inside her apartment, he tells her to slowly take her clothes off and takes her to the bathroom, where he wakes her body, telling her that she has soft skin. He then pushes her to the ground, where he forces himself on her again. After he is finished with her, he dresses her up in his clothes and then ties her up, laying her down on his bed. Touching her blindfolded face sexually, the man asks for her name, and she purposefully gives him a fake one. Tears rolling down her face, Lisa asks him why he was doing that to her, and he tells her that it was for her, goodbye using vulgar language. The following day, Diana reports her granddaughter missing, withholding information about Lisa's home situation. Police officers arrive at Lisa's mother, Betty's house, and attempt to ask her a few questions, but she adamantly tells the officers that Lisa probably just ran away. The police then went over to the donut shop where Lisa worked and interviewed her boss, who told them that he didn't think it was unlike Lisa to run away. He explains to the officer that Lisa is a very hard-working girl. Back in the kidnapper's apartment, Lisa dreams about the first day she came to leave with her grandmother. At first, she was happy about getting her room, unaware of what Diana was implying when she said the room came with responsibilities. Suddenly, she feels the man's weight on top of her and is shocked awake. Knowing that she needs to protect herself, she uses psychological tactics to make him feel sorry for her by apologizing for all the other women who hurt him in his life. Lisa then gently asks him to give her water, and since he had felt at ease by what she said, he unties her and gives her water. Later, while he is watching TV, he hears that a teenage girl has gone missing and gets angry that Lisa had lied to him about being 20, abusing her all over again. Hey, quick reminder to click that subscribe button and become part of our family. We have amazing recaps on the way that you don't want to miss out on. Hours later, Lisa begged her kidnapper to take her to the bathroom as she still lay on his bed blindfolded. Once he leaves her in the bathroom, she makes sure she sees as much as she can and begins to leave her fingerprint and hair everywhere. When she takes too long inside, her kidnapper tries to open the door but finds that it is locked and gets upset. Once she opens it, he begins to threaten her with the gun, but she is smart enough to calm him down by being submissive. That night, while her kidnapper is fast asleep beside her, Lisa gets up and begins to look around the house. She then gets to the phone and begins to dial a number, but is suddenly caught by her kidnapper. Crying, she lies and tells him that she was only trying to call her father to let him know that she was okay, because he had been very sick recently. She tries to gain his sympathy by telling him that he reminded her of her father, because he too was a kind and underappreciated man. Lisa continues to try and lure the man by telling him that she knows he is a nice man and offers to be his girlfriend if he lets her go back to her father. Although he tries to be rough with her during intercourse, Lisa holds him close and pretends to show him love so he doesn't hurt her. After he leaves her on the bed, Lisa remembers the time her sister came to visit her at her grandmother's house. She had shown her a gun and told her that she would kill Morris if he ever touched her. While she is lying on the bed, she hears her kidnapper listening to the news as it talks about a killer that terrorized the city. Suddenly, her kidnapper becomes frantic and tells her that he needs to get rid of her. Lisa begins to beg him to let her go, promising that she would never tell anyone. Telling her to stay quiet, her kidnapper gets her in his car and begins to drive. After a long drive, the man takes her to a remote location and leaves her there, telling her to go to the police and give them the wrong description. Once he lets her go, Lisa starts to run even though he had told her to wait 5 minutes. Lisa runs as fast as she can all the way home and barges inside the house. Deanna and Morris watch her startled at first, then angry, asking her where she had been all this time. Although Lisa tries to explain that she had been kidnapped and raped, Diana and Morris don't believe her. Diana called the police to inform them that Lisa had returned, and they insisted on speaking to her. Before she leaves, Diana warns her not to say anything about their lives there. After the police take her away, Officer Lopez, the detective who was originally on her case, asks her a few questions about the incident. Lisa tries to tell him everything that happened, but he finds it strange because her actions and the kidnapper's behavior don't fit the usual MO. Lopez transfers the case to 2 female detectives by the name of Russell and Castle. The 2 detectives ask her a few questions and are confused by some of the details she was giving them, surprised that she could pay attention to such things with everything going on. Lisa tried to explain to them that, although she had been blindfolded the entire time, she would be able to describe the man to them because he let her touch it. The 2 detectives look at her skeptically and assume that she is making up a story not to be punished by her family. Angry! Lisa yells and tells them that she is telling the truth. In the conference room of the station, police are having a meeting about their recent serial killer whose MO was to kidnap and kill women. After the meeting, Dean Russell speaks to one of the other detectives by the name of Larry and asks him to speak to Lisa because she had totally shut down on them. Gently addressing Lisa, he asks her to tell him everything, promising that he will believe her. Lisa explained every detail she could remember from the time she was caught to the time he released her. Impressed by the amount of information she could gather, Larry believes her and orders the other detectives to bring her a change of clothes, suggesting that she go into hypnosis to see if she is blocking out anything. Larry calls Lisa's home to get permission for the hypnosis therapy and finds it strange that Morris refuses, saying that Lisa needs to come home because she has chores to do. Larry then privately speaks to Lisa about the situation, urging her to tell him the truth. With tears in her eyes, Lisa explains everything that had been happening to her for years, giving Larry the right to arrest the cruel Morris. Lisa is taken home to pack up her things and is taken to a temporary home with a police sergeant. That night, Lisa wakes up screaming, after having a nightmare about her kidnapper finding her again, and is calmed down by the sergeant who suggests she take her to see a psychiatrist. The following day, Lisa meets Larry at the station and gives him more details about her kidnapping. Suddenly, Lisa remembers that she had seen the car the night before the kidnapping and informs Larry. Larry has a sudden revelation that perhaps Lisa's kidnapper was the serial killer the police force was looking for. After informing the chief, he asks that the clothes Lisa was wearing be sent to FBI forensics. He then decides to move Lisa to a different location because he fears that if the criminal is the same guy, he will come after her. Larry picks Lisa up from the sergeant's home and takes her to a safe house for minors. He then tells her to lay low for a while until they can catch her kidnapper. That night, Larry brings his daughter, Sarah, over and introduces her to Lisa. The 3 drive down to a dinner to have dinner and a light conversation. The following day, Larry goes to work and is informed that the red fibers found on Lisa's clothes match the ones found on every dead victim. Larry is ecstatic that he was able to find a witness and put a face to the elusive serial killer. Larry goes to Lisa and asks her if she would be able to retrace her steps back to the man's apartment after her kidnapping. Lisa realizes that the man who took her was the serial killer everyone was looking for and agrees to help him. Larry and another sergeant take her to the place where she had been kidnapped, urging her to remember as much as she can. Closing her eyes, Lisa recounts the direction and intersections they had passed through, leading the cops to where she remembers her kidnapper taking her. Lisa can give the police a 2-mile radius around the man's house, but is unable to exactly tell them where he had taken her. Larry tells her that he prefers that she stay in the station until the killer is caught, so he can keep an eye on her. The police are given sketches of what the killer could look like from Lisa's descriptions, and every cop was on the lookout. On one of his routes, Detective Wolf recognizes a car with the same description trying to pick up a prostitute. Stopping behind the car, Wolf speaks to the driver, lying and telling him that his car matches the description of a robbery nearby. He then snaps a picture of him by assuring him that it was only for reference. Taking the picture to the station, they have Lisa identify him from amongst other suspects, and she manages to pick him out. Once they make sure it's him, the police are sent out to bring the man in. As some of the officers are arresting him, the others search his car and find the blood print Lisa had left on purpose. After they bring him in, the police search his house and find the print as long as the hair she had left inside, helping them solidify the case. Once he realizes that he has no escape, Lisa's kidnapper confesses everything to the police, telling them that they only caught him because he let her go. He confesses that he couldn't hurt her because she was special. Larry finds Lisa where she was napping in the station and informs her of the good news. He appreciates her for everything she has done to help catch the killer, telling her that she was able to accomplish this in only 12 days when they couldn't do it in 6 months. Larry contacts Lisa's aunt and husband and informs them of what happened. The couple rush down to the station in tears and apologize to Lisa for never realizing what was going on in her grandmother's house. The couple then take in Lisa and her sister, raising them as their own. Lisa lived with her aunt and uncle for a few years, finally getting the family love and support she always craved. She then grew up to become a sheriff's deputy specializing in sex crimes and working to protect children. Lisa remains friends with Larry, who still refers to her as the #1 hero of his career. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Stick around and watch our other videos as well. See you in the next one.